Could you climb a 1,000-foot tall mountain? For us in the Pacific Northwest, this doesn't seem like too long of a hike. But for the folks living in Hamilton County, Ohio, 1,045 feet describes their highest peak, colloquially known as Mount Rumpke. The hill hides a secret. It's not a mountain. It's actually a landfill that still to this day receives 2 million tons of garbage annually, as estimated on their website. The worst part about landfills across the country like Rumpke is the amount of recyclable material mixed into the garbage. According to National Geographic's Laura Parker in 2018, a whopping 91% of all plastic isn't recycled, the majority of it residing in landfills. The truth is, America's recycling program is not as effective and requires further development. The dysfunctionality of the U.S. plastics recycling has been an issue for decades. I'll start by showing the issues with our current system. Next, we'll look at some companies that have taken steps towards a more sustainable business. And finally, we'll look to the future to see what is at stake. Even someone doing their best to live a zero-waste lifestyle will leave a carbon footprint. Over time, these prints have led to something more akin to the Grand Canyon. It's no secret that the way we live produces trash. Whether you have or have never considered where your waste is taken, it's important to understand our current waste management and recycling practices. While you may think that most plastics are commonly recycled and reused, you'd actually be incorrect. Not all plastics are made equally. According to a recent report by Greenpeace, who tracked plastic production and recovery in 2018, the only plastic product processed by all U.S. material recovery facilities was plastic bottles. But it gets worse. If you flip over a bottle, you will see a number between 1 and 7 inside of the recycling triangle. To put it simply, the higher the number, the harder it is and more expensive it is to process whatever that derivative of plastic is. According to the same Greenpeace report, in most cases, numbers past 2 are not worth it to break down. Either the process is too long or expensive to make it worth it in a business sense. America's old solution was to compress these higher numbered plastics into shipping containers and send them overseas, primarily to China. However, in 2018, China banned the import of foreign waste because they were struggling to process it like everyone else. Now, in the US, we're forced to see that many of these numbered plastics were never truly intended to be recycled and will now require new processing systems to deal with this sudden surplus. This will hopefully lead to better practices being developed rather than these reusable materials being put into a landfill or incinerated for power. According to an EPA report in 2018, out of 35,680 tons of plastic waste, only 3,020 tons were recycled. That is less than 10% of our plastics being recycled. Looking at pollution with the industry as some big bad guy is an oversimplification. While companies seem to produce with reckless abandon, others have realized that we all exist on the same planet and have begun simple procedures that build sustainability. While it may be an unrealistic cost for a business to switch to a completely carbon neutral model, there are a few that have risen to the challenge with plans to either curb the impact of their products already in circulation, in addition to making plans going forward to further develop sustainable practices. It's strange to think that someone could step on your Legos long after your death. Being made completely out of plastic, Legos and other toys like them will linger long past their original owner. Recently, the Danish company has begun tests of a Lego recycling program in the US. After being carefully inspected, the Legos are either deemed fit to be sent off to nonprofits like Teach for America or Boston Boys and Girls Club, or they can be melted down and turned back into new bricks or the molds that shape them. PepsiCo is one of the largest plastic producers in the world and has taken a pledge recently to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. Their plan is achieving a 20% reduction in greenhouse gases by 2030, according to a press release in 2019. According to their website, their sustainable plastic vision is rooted in 3 pillars: reducing plastic waste, boosting plastic recycling rates, and reinvent plastic packaging. It is clear to Pepsi U.S. recycling systems are not effective and will require further expansion. If the incineration that produces greenhouse gases is to stop. Patagonia is a shining example of a sustainable business, with repair programs for all their clothing and a complete and transparent recycling program, as well as a self-imposed 1% tax that goes to grassroots environmental groups. Going to their website, Patagonia Action works will show 15,047 grantees who receive money from Patagonia's 1% tax. These grants cover everything from seabird research to a service that prevents food waste. Patagonia has demonstrated an awareness that is surprisingly rare from companies of its size, but also serves as a beacon of a company with loyal customers who want to support a forward-thinking business. So, while our governmental recycling programs may not be as effective as advertised, there are a few companies adopting widespread sustainable practices, acknowledging the damage their products are capable of. It will take further development of both business, manufacturing, and governmental processing to reduce further damages. Looking to the future can be unnerving in the context of pollution. However, if true change is to be made, we must accept that humanity got us into this mess and will have to be the ones to get us out. When it comes to pollution, it's hard to know where the line of irreversible damage is. The issue being, we have already passed several of these lines. Humans have led countless species to extinction. According to a report from the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, which was established in 2012 by the United Nations Environmental Program, 1 million species globally will be threatened with extinction within decades. If the US continues to pretend its recycling program is adequate, we will continue to damage our planet and its biodiversity. I hope that an explanation of how we currently process our municipal waste gave you reason to be disappointed in our current practices. First, I showed you not as much is being recycled as you think. After that, I described a few businesses that have taken the first steps and given you context for the path that we're on. While it may seem like plastic pollution is too large or too out of hand, any methods to control or stop further pollution could not be of higher importance. You can choose type 1 or type 2 plastic bottles as they're the easiest to recycle. Support companies that have demonstrated sustainable practices and continue to develop practices without falling back into landfilling is so important. So the next time you buy a piece of plastic, consider it may outlive you. Thank you.